Hello, Paw Patrol fans. I'm Matthew from Matthew Rodriguez World. In this new episode, we're going to learn about Paw Patrol Pups Save a Friend. That's why we're going to learn today. Are you guys ready? Okay, and here we go. The episode begins with Marshall in Adventure Bay. When he saw Mr. Porter carrying a crate full of apples, then Marshall decided he wants to help. But then Marshall and then Mr. Porter and then Mr. Porter dropped his crate full of apples, and then they roll into the road, and then the truck squished them. Marshall decided he wants to help him, but Mr. Porter said no, and poor Marshall, he started to cry. Oh, that's really sad, isn't it, kids? But Marshall decided he wanted to make things right when he was walking to the lookout, but then when Mayor Goodway was riding on her scooter with Chicoletta, when all of a sudden, Mayor Goodway fell in the bush after when Marshall got in her way. But luckily, Mayor Goodway was okay, and so is her friend Chicoletta. Poor Marshall, he was so sad. He doesn't know what to do. And he says, I can't do anything right to do. And then the Paw Patrol decided for Marshall to play some volleyball. And then Zuma said, Marshall, dude, want to play some volleyball, dude? And Marshall said, I don't know. I don't think I can't. And Rocky said, come on, it's a blast for you. Have fun. Well, okay, said Marshall. And then, when Marshall was about to play volleyball, and then, boom! The poor pups, they got tied up. And Chase said, quite the spike, Marshall. And then they fell. And then Marshall went to get the volleyball. But then Rubble came and he said, Paulo the Super Pup, the new episode is on. And then the Paw Patrol went to see Paulo the Super Pup, the superhero. After when Marshall got back, he noticed that the pups were gone. And then Marshall can hear the pups laughing and they said, can you believe he did that? That silly pup always messing things up. And then Marshall heard them. Marshall knew the pups were talking about them, and poor Marshall felt really sad. And poor Marshall, and he said, I can't do anything right. Maybe the Paw Patrol need a break for me. And he said, so long, Paw Patrol, I gotta go. And poor Marshall, he drove away on his fire truck. After when the pups, they watched Paulo the Super Pup, they noticed that Marshall was missing. And then Zuma found the flat volleyball on the ground on the road. So the Paw Patrol went out to find him. And Sky went to see Ryder. He noticed that Marshall was missing. And then Sky said, Ryder, have you seen Marshall? No, is he missing? We haven't seen him until he went out to get the volleyball. And then Ryder noticed that Marshall's fire truck is gone. And then Ryder called to Marshall and he said, hey Marshall, it's Ryder. What are you up to? Hey Ryder, I'm taking a break from the Paw Patrol, but they're tired of me for messing up their games. I don't want to cause problems. Marshall out. And poor Marshall, he hang up on Ryder. And poor Marshall, he found himself staying in the woods, and he parked his fire truck right here in the middle of the road on the dirt. But Ryder was wondering, but why does Marshall want to leave anyway? And then Ryder said, that's strange, the Paw Patrol don't want him around anymore. And Ryder has a plan to save Marshall. He says, we have to find Marshall and bring him home. No job is too big and no pup is too small. And then Ryder called out to the Paw Patrol and he said, Paw Patrol, to the lookout! Ryder needs us. And then when the Paw Patrol got on the elevator and they said, that's strange. It's really funny without Marshall ever since he didn't want to come to the elevator. And the poor pups, they started to cry about Marshall. Oh, that's so sad, isn't it, kids? Yeah, very, very disappointing and very sad. And when the Paw Patrol got ready for action, they noticed that Marshall was not right next to the pups. And then Ryder was ready for action. And then he showed the pups about Marshall walking away from the lookout. And the pups, they said, Marshall doesn't do bad things. He's a good pup. And Sky said, he's funny and he loves to play. And Chase said, he's really cool and Marshall is our best friend. And then Ryder noticed that Marshall was in the forest and the pups, they said, he's our buddy. And then Ryder called out to Chase, Chase, I need you and your drone to find Marshall. Chase is on the case. He is now known as Spy Chase. He'll use his drone to find Marshall in the middle of the woods. And then Ryder called all the other pups to find Marshall. And then Ryder said, all right, Paw Patrol is on a roll. And then the pups are getting ready for action. And soon they left the lookout. After when Marshall got out of his tent in the middle of the forest, and then Marshall decided to make new friends. But then he fell, and then he saw a bunny. So Marshall decided to make a new friend of a bunny. So Marshall followed the bunny and he followed him. Meanwhile, when the pups were searching for Marshall in the middle of Adventure Bay, Rubble, he searched the barn and he even searched the water. And Sky, she searched the entire place of Adventure Bay. And then Sky noticed that there's a storm coming. The storm is getting darker and darker. Meanwhile, when Chase was searching for Marshall's fire truck, he used his drone to find it. But then Chase spotted it with his own eyes on the drone. The drone spotted Marshall's fire truck and Chase radioed to Ryder and he said, Ryder, I found Marshall's fire truck and he's not inside it. That's great, Chase. Pups, Marshall's in the middle of the forest. We must find him. Come on, Pups, let's go. So, kids, we'll be back after these messages until we finish the entire story about Paw Patrol, Pups Save a Friend, and we'll learn all about it, okay, kids? Okay. See ya.